The Indus Valley Civilization, often called the Harappan Civilization, flourished between roughly 2600 and 1900 BCE across present-day Pakistan and northwest India. At its peak, it stretched over 1.25 million square kilometers, making it larger than contemporary Egypt and Mesopotamia combined. For centuries, its story was buried under dust and river silt, until excavations in the 1920s revealed an entire world of advanced cities, bustling trade, and quiet innovation. Unlike most ancient societies, the Indus left behind no colossal monuments to rulers, no lists of kings carved in stone, and no epic tales of conquest. Instead, what survives is more subtle but equally powerful: a society defined by planning, sanitation, and trade. Their achievements are seen in brick-lined streets, intricate drainage systems, standardized weights, and a global network of exchange. Urban planning without kings. Cities like Harappa, Mohenjo-Daro, Dholavira, and Lothal were not haphazard growths but master-planned settlements. Archaeologists discovered that streets ran in perfect grids, intersecting at right angles. Houses, whether large or modest, often included private wells, bathing platforms, and connections to covered sewers. Wastewater flowed into main drains along streets, complete with inspection holes for cleaning. This was urban planning thousands of years ahead of its time. Imagine while much of the world lived in scattered villages, the Harappans were enjoying municipal plumbing. It forces us to reconsider what makes a society advanced. Military power, monumental temples, or simply the ability to keep thousands of citizens healthy and clean. If the Indus people could manage indoor plumbing 4,000 years ago, you can manage one thing today: hitting like and subscribe before your Wi-Fi drops. Bricks, standards, and organization. One of the most striking features of Indus construction is the uniformity of bricks. Across hundreds of miles, archaeologists found baked bricks of nearly identical dimensions, often in a ratio of 1 to 2 to 4. Such standardization implies central regulation or shared cultural discipline. Weights and measures followed similar precision. Cubical weights, made of chert stone, carefully calibrated, have been uncovered at multiple sites. These standards enabled consistent trade and taxation. They also highlight a society focused less on glorifying rulers and more on building systems that worked for everyone. This raises a fascinating question. How did they manage such coordination without evidence of kings or empires? Unlike Egypt, no pyramids proclaim the power of Pharaoh. Unlike Mesopotamia, no ziggurats towered above the plains. The Harappans left no statues of conquerors or generals. Their legacy is invisible power order without hierarchy, discipline without domination. The Indus script, a silent mystery among the most intriguing artifacts, are seals, small square pieces carved with animals and symbols. Over 400 unique signs have been catalogued, forming what is known as the Indus script. To date, no one has deciphered it. Some scholars argue it represents a full language. Others suggest it might have been a shorthand or symbolic code. The seals likely marked ownership or served as trade identifiers. They show bulls, elephants, and a recurring unicorn-like figure, perhaps with ritual or clan significance. The undeciphered script remains one of archaeology's greatest puzzles. If cracked, it could reveal how the Harappans organized their economy, governed their cities, and perhaps even worshipped. Until then, these tiny inscriptions remain silent witnesses to a lost voice in human history. Trade and global connections. The Indus Valley was not isolated. Archaeological finds reveal wide-ranging trade networks. Indus seals have been unearthed in Mesopotamia, suggesting direct contact with Sumerian merchants. Beads of carnelian, lapis lazuli, and steatite traveled long distances. At Lathal, archaeologists discovered a massive dockyard, one of the earliest known in the world. From there, ships likely sailed to Oman and the Persian Gulf. Cotton textiles, another Harappan specialty, may have been among their exports, making them pioneers in clothing production. These connections prove the Harappans were not only engineers, but also global traders. Their civilization thrived, not on conquest, but on commerce. Religion and beliefs, unlike Egypt with its towering pyramids or Mesopotamia with its temples. The Indus left no monumental religious architecture. The most famous structure, the Great Bath at Mohenjo-Daro, suggests ritual bathing or purification. Terracotta figurines, often interpreted as fertility symbols, hint at domestic religious practices. Some scholars point to similarities between Indus motifs and later Hindu traditions, seated in yogic postures, animals with sacred associations. While the direct link is uncertain, the echoes are tantalizing. What is clear is that religion in the Indus was not focused on glorifying rulers or gods through giant temples. Instead, spirituality may have been woven into daily life. Collapse and decline around 1900 BCE. The urban centers of the Indus Valley began to decline. Streets grew clogged, construction quality fell, and large cities emptied. What caused this collapse? Theories vary. One points to climate change. Shifting monsoons and drying rivers, especially the Saraswati, which may have been the lifeline of many settlements. Another suggests soil exhaustion from intensive farming. Shifts in trade networks could have weakened the economic base. Unlike dramatic invasions elsewhere, the Indus decline seems gradual. There is little evidence of widespread violence or burning. Instead, the civilization faded, with people dispersing into smaller, rural communities. Yet cultural elements survived, feeding into later South Asian traditions. Why the Indus still matters? The Indus Valley Civilization challenges assumptions about what it means to be civilized. They built cities without kings, managed sanitation without armies, and engaged in trade without leaving behind tales of conquest. Their focus was collective order, not individual glory. In today's world, where power is often measured by military might or skyscrapers, the Harappans remind us of another path, one where community health, shared standards, and cooperation form the foundation of success. Their story also teaches humility. Despite their sophistication, their script remains unread, their rulers unknown, their fall mysterious. Even with modern technology, vast pieces of their world remain hidden. Conclusion and call to action. So when you look at ancient maps, don't overlook the brick-lined streets of Mohenjo-Daro or the dockyards of Lathal. They whisper of a society that thrived for centuries without palaces, generals, or empirate, left an indelible mark on human history. If you've learned something new today, remember, the Indus mastered clean drains thousands of years ago. The least you can do is clean up your YouTube feed by smashing that like button and subscribing for more. Stay tuned. In our next episode, we'll dive deeper into one of the Indus' most iconic mysteries, the Great Bath. Until then, think about this: civilization doesn't always mean kings and wars. Sometimes, it simply means working toilets.